listening to y'all. This is gonna be epic, bro. I'm jumping on a plane like literally after we get off of this.
Did you click it again or what? End
Click what?
stream. Oh no. Never mind. I'm trying
I
to
didn't
figure out.
click it.
For some reason, it threw me off that it says end stream on the live button, but I could see that
Oh,
we're running, so we're live.
how's my light? I mean,
Good morning, everybody.
right.
Thank you guys for joining us today. It seems like it's going to be a very interesting morning.
It's gonna be a great morning, man. I'm happy. Let me get a mug of something to drink. Thank you, Lily. You heard my voice note, and I saw your message yesterday, and I was just laughing. I was like, she served me. It's all good. Give me 30 seconds.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
take your
okay.
time, I guess. Well, Lily,
I'm
thank you so
literally
much
just getting
for
some water.
thank you so much for joining us today. We've actually been pretty excited about having you on because we've been kind of following the work that you've been doing, and I think it's so unique and interesting. Although I think erroneously been calling it the Wikipedia of fish, but that's the only thing that I can kind of compare it because if I understand this correctly, you want hobbyists with experience to be the ones that talk about these fish on this database, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So why don't I'm gonna wait a little bit for Steve to show up. So but you came to my attention. I think it was after one of the Aquashellas and Vibes Aquatics had you on his live stream, and I remember watching that, and I remember kind of listening to what you were talking about. That that's really interesting and unique. And then you just kind of started, popping up in different places. And every time I've seen you come up somewhere, I always like to listen to what it is that you're doing. So it was really interested. We were really interested, especially since recently we've kind of gone this path of bringing on people that are kind of like subject experts in certain areas. It just made perfect sense for you to be able to tie in all of this together to end the year. And so we were really excited when we reached out and you agreed to be here with us. I think it's one of the most exciting things that is going on in the hobby right now, as far as having a place where if you want to get legit information on some of these species, that you're going to be able to find it on this database. Um, so, um, where does I guess we can get started a little bit, but where does the idea originate for this, Lily?
Okay, so first of all, thank you for having me on the stream. I'm really excited to be here, and I
Absolutely.
really appreciate the interest in the project. But this actually started like for very selfish reasons. So my dream fish for a really long time was the Asian arowana, which, as most people know, is illegal in the U.S.
Mhm.
Unless you're a public aquarium or a conservation organization. And so I was like, well, I've always been interested in conservation. I really like this fish. What if I just become a conservation group? So I started conducting all these informational interviews with the IUCN, with CITES, with a lot of like different permit-based and conservation groups and things like that. And I described this idea of like a world seed bank, but for fish.
Huh.
So basically having captive populations of a lot of endangered species so that we could fix the habitat and then reintroduce them. I believe it's called an ARC population, where you're just like, just in case.
Mhm.
So I wanted to do that. And as I was having all of these interviews, people started asking me how I was going to keep track of all of this information that I was collecting when I was doing my own research and like keeping these species alive. And by that time I had made my own little version of the database, and I was like, oh, I'll just put it here. Here's the database that I'll be using. It'll be publicly available. And then all the people that I interviewed were like, actually, we are more interested in that. We want to know more about that. So my focus shifted a little bit into starting the database, and that's kind of how I ended up here. But my dream is still eventually to have my own little conservation warehouse.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So, creme de la creme. This is it, y'all. This ties everything together. Jorge hit me up when this whole thing, like when we like started fathoming, entertaining, asking you to come on. He was like, "I think I found somebody." And then he sent it, and I sent him back some laughing emojis. And he was like, watch it. She needs to come on the show. And I was like, oh, Lily. And this is perfect. Cut from the same cloth, selfish reasons. Find a way to make one. Like what was on my banner at the expo. And this is perfect. You're the perfect guest for this year to finish out everything. I was smiling when you were talking earlier to Jorge because as you are giving people context on why you're here, your context is our purpose. So it meshes together so beautifully, and it's just the universe, and like I always say. So thank you for coming, and like let's get into it. Like building this place. So here at Fish Clancy Monts, I'm trying to put my water on, y'all. We use the word cultivate
You
a
going
lot.
hiking or something?
Huh? No,
You
bro. I gotta hydrate though. I'm going flying, so that is the same. You know how it is. But
That's the last place I want to be hydrated because then you got to go to the restroom, and going to the restroom on a plane is not the funnest thing to do.
I'm kind of like that. I'm masochist. I be doing that. I like to consider myself a world champion piss holder.
Okay, the
My
real
record-
question is if you're in the aisle, though. If you're in the
Yeah.
aisle, I feel like it's okay.
I
Yeah,
don't like going
half
in
the
the
time you don't
bathroom.
get stuck in the middle or the
Yeah.
window.
Yeah.
Most time I forget to pee anyway. But I digress. We use the word cultivate here a lot. And it's beautiful, right? Because I'm here and I'm saying baby duck syndrome. You have these people who have a fish now because Christmas just passed, right? They go to Google University and they type in beta splendens, right? And then boom, they get inundated by, well, shit, it's the end of the year. They get inundated by a slew of sensationalized nonsense. Basically, they get taught how to kill a beta splendens rather than how to care for one. It's a bunch of rhetoric. It's good for the business model. Your problems are intrinsic. But hey, for a small fee, we have a solution for you. It's called shake this in here and pour that there. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, this fish that you have is a captive bred GMO, since we like to use buzzwords so much, that has its origins in a ditch. And your 10-gallon aquarium with your Aqueon HOB, turning that son of a bitch over 3, 4, 5 times an hour, it's going to kill your beta. But your altruism could be replaced by empirical data. And that's where we come in with the whole cultivation thing, right? So they start watching them YouTubers and it's baby duck syndrome. They get imprinted. And vehemently, they will defend these people, even if it is blatantly wrong, because that's who they got brought up with. Like, oh, you're my mom, right? So what we said is, what if there was a place to catch those people before they fall into the cracks, or even after they fall into the cracks and they are discerning and they can use their own conscience to deduce right from wrong, and they say, okay, this is not, I'm not involved, I don't want to be associated with that, so I'm just not gonna use YouTube as a viable source for information. Well, what if we had a place for those people? And what if we had a place to catch the other people before they got hatched to a duck but didn't know they were an eagle the whole damn time? And that's why they were getting treated differently. You're ugly. No, I'm not. I'm just not being cultivated properly so I can spread my wings and fly. Y'all want to quack and float.
I'm trying to soar. So here we are with this now. It's 30 December, and boom, we got you on the show. This whole thing is like giving people that place where we can do science, okay? It's objective. Nobody needs to be eviscerated because they have a goldfish in a 20-gallon lawn with multicolored gravel. It's fine. But you get the fish police on now, you know, punking little girl, like 10-year-olds, 15-year-olds, whatever, behind something as innocuous as furniture, because at the end of the day, that's what a fish tank is. So we want to bring the hobby into the hobby and treat YouTube, right, our civic center, where twice a month we come up here and we get our hobby on. And that's what Fish Plants and Moss has become. And we're going to continue to develop it. So with that, that's what I mean when I say you fit perfectly into everything that we're doing. So I applaud you for that. And now with that context, you take that, please, match my energy, supersede it, and let the people know what you're doing.
Sounds good to me. Thank you for the introduction. And obviously it's good to have a summary on the work that you guys are doing too. Yeah, so I think what you mentioned covers a lot of the important parts of my own project, where it's like trying to have a place where people can actually come to learn. And I think that's probably one of the most difficult parts of this hobby, is having a place where you can find information. Because as you mentioned, there's a lot of different information on YouTube. There's a lot of different information when you just look up like how to take care of a betta fish. So basically the database is a place almost like Facebook, but better. Because I know a lot of people are using Facebook right now to identify fish, to ask about care requirements. But the problem with that is it gets lost really easily. So what ends up happening is multiple hobbyists will try the same things and get the same results. But it's almost like you're always starting at step zero. Mm-hmm. Instead of being able to build off of the knowledge of other hobbyists, and instead of being able to kind of really improve the knowledge that we have about the hobby, everyone who wants to be passionate and dedicated has to start from the beginning. And so the database is kind of a way to prevent that, and to kind of help the hobby move forward more efficiently and with a permanency of information. So instead of getting lost to time, being able to have it all in the same place in a format that's easy for people to read and review and learn and contribute their own information. That was another big part. A lot of the people I talk to that have been in this hobby for 40, 50, 60 years don't want to make their own website. They don't want to have their own platform. They don't want to have the maintenance and the difficulty of actually maintaining their own website, their own information. But having a platform like this where you can just log in and be like, oh, I have this one fish, I'm going to type this information about it. It makes it a lot easier to share and contribute that information. And I did base it off of a couple other platforms. So I looked at Wikipedia, I looked at Facebook, I looked at iNaturalist, if you guys are familiar with that. And, I looked at, Planet Catfish, FishBase. So I did a lot of research to try and figure out what the current gap was and why it wasn't working. And the problem is it's mostly static. So you get one really dedicated individual, or like a small group of really dedicated individuals that try and maintain thousands of species. And, most people in this hobby, this isn't their full-time job, right? So, they go, they do their work, and they come back and they're tired, and life gets in the way of maintaining these thousands of species. So by using a principle like Wikipedia or iNaturalist, where it's community driven, it ensures the accuracy of the information a lot better than if it were just one person. And I think that's probably the newer thing about the database. I see somebody pulled up my website. Thank you. Yeah, so another part that I'm trying to work on is actually collaboration with different mediums. So if you look at this contest information, for example, you'll see that I have a section for hobbyists and researchers, and I also have a section for artists. So I think one of the things that we've been missing is actually art, because it's, when you go to conventions, people are selling fish, people are selling equipment. Like, that's great for people that are in the hobby. But some people don't have room for more tanks. Some people are very new to it. They don't want to jump into it just yet. Or some people don't know anything about fish at all. And I think that's where the artists come in. So I've been working with, I think it's 5 artists now on different platforms to create the pin designs and to create little stories and backgrounds for each character.
Oh, let me go get mine.
Yeah, so then working with artists and things like that is another way that I'm trying to reach out and kind of make people more aware of conservation. And I think they did a really good job of this in saltwater conservation with Finding Nemo, which might not seem like the obvious connection because there's not really a lot about conservation in Finding Nemo. But when you think about it, now when kids go to the aquarium, when they go to a shop, they go, look, it's Nemo, look, it's Dory. And they have that recognition, right? They have that positive association with that fish, and it automatically makes them a little more interested in it. So kind of trying to recreate that, but with freshwater conservation has been another part of this project. But the main part is this database. So if you could click on the link to the database, actually, so we can maybe walk some people through it. I believe, yeah, the sign up button should work.
Let me log
I
in.
already got an account. If you want me to log mine, I can. Well, you need one too. Look.
I already have one, but it's just I had it all up and running. I closed the damn window.
Yeah, so there's one of the pins.
Sailors.
Let's see if I got the password correct. Nope. All right. You can see the species, right?
No, your screen is still on the Explore the database.
Oh. Let me stop sharing that. And let me share the other screen. There we go. All right. Yeah. We're in.
So I have been really excited by the number of entries that have been coming in, especially since Aquashella and the Aquarium Expo that I went to in Houston. Those were really great shows. So to everyone that I actually got to see in person there, that was really fun. Let's do it again. But yeah, so there have been a lot of new entries recently, and that's the main principle of the database. So I've been really excited about that. But as you can see, it's sorted by family. If there's a family missing, you can actually just go to the bottom and hit Add Family. Then if you click on any of the families, it'll show you the species, like the individual species, and then you can go through and select the one that you're trying to find information on, or you can add information of your own. So the way that this works is that anybody can add information. This is open to anyone. If you are the first person to add a species, it does go through an admin check to make sure that there's no spam, there's no like hugely incorrect information.
That's
yeah.
No, because I'm adding stuff like that's why I didn't sleep, y'all. If y'all saw my thing on Instagram, it's because I was up on there like it made I felt like science.
Lily, is there a way to vet the people that are trying to add information to make sure that the information they're adding is correct? And also, if I'm not mistaken, the photographs that are uploaded are actually from hobbyists that keep the fish. It's not just stock images.
Correct. So any photo that is uploaded on here has to be uploaded with proper credit. So a lot of times it's from hobbyists themselves. Sometimes it's from people they know. It really depends on the species and like how rare it is. I've heard people say like, oh, I don't have any good pictures. I don't want to upload it to the database. That doesn't matter. The important part is having the species there. And then over time, naturally, people will add more pictures. Yeah, so that's another thing. For example, you see the guppies, right? I mean, this whole live bear section is very prone to this, but they have different strains. And so it can be helpful for people to see, the different options, what's available, and the different way that this fish look while all still being the same fish. You were asking about vetting the people that put information in the database.
Yes.
So currently, all the information is just checked on the back end if you're the first person. So it operates on the Facebook principle. So if you've ever been in a Facebook fish group and somebody posts an incorrect picture, They're like, I have this species, and it's a completely different species. Within 10 minutes, right? People are like, actually, that's the wrong fish. Are you sure you should be keeping tanks? Do you have any experience at all? So it operates on that principle, but nicer.
Right.
Where any misinformation can actually be flagged.
Can we talk about that? Because we're laughing about it, but this is why we're here in the first place, because people get eviscerated. Objectivity, right? So this is genius that you were able to isolate that principle from Facebook, the social aspect. Now, A, it's a hobby. B, it's a biology-driven hobby, which means it's backed by 1,000% empirical data. When you got Larry Joe in his trailer, drunk on Budweiser with a bunch of damn cats, doing what you just said to who, because of the anonymity of the internet, there's no progress being made. And this is a great way to capitalize on the opportunity. I like to talk about it because now you have neural connections that you can identify a behavior with a response. And my favorite part, a solution, because that's what we about. We're not trying to hurt nobody. We're trying to give solutions. So this is the part where y'all don't need to be scared. You dig? Don't worry about nobody trying to eviscerate you. This is science. It is objective. It's not emotional. Everybody makes mistakes. At the end of the day, it's about the greater good. It's not about you. It's about the advancement of this hobby and collecting said data so that we all have a resource that we can share now and for the future. It's not about how you feel. So thank you for bringing that up. I wasn't trying to go on a tangent. I'm confident that it was relevant, but I digress.
I feel like the tangents are often the best parts of the live streams. Like you have the main topic and then you get started on this other story that becomes very interesting very quickly.
Oh, don't encourage them, Lily. We'll be here for hours.
All right, my bad. Sorry.
It's because
no tangents.
People get scared.
Yeah, and I think it is scary to post in those Facebook groups when you see how other people are treated. And by removing that, you can't contact the person directly about their entry. You contact me. And so that kind of removes the anonymity because you can't be mean to that person.
Right.
Or it takes a lot of extra steps. And I feel like most of the time people on the internet don't find it worth it. That being said, there also is a forum and everything. I've been working on setting up rules because I do want it to be community driven. I don't want it to be one of those places where everyone's just afraid to post, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then for the forums, I also imagine it a place of communication and things like that. Because if you have a really rare species, it might be hard to find the exact Facebook group you need to be in to find other people with that species. And so just having a place to be like, hey, I need to add new blood to my breeding colony.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Which species or which?
Oh, dude, damn near everything in the house, with the exception of, seriously. And it's serendipity again that you bring this up because we've been talking about this all year. One of one type fish, diversity, floor space, right? So not being part of the problem. If a fish that I have is taking up floor space in a display in here, then I try to make sure it's endemic. I try to make it matter, and it's like that exchange of the art versus your budget, your experience, your time, etc. I don't get my rocks off on dialing in a high-tech Planet tank and then flexing with cynical bullshit ass posts all day on Instagram. Low tech, high tech, all that. I mean, that's so stupid. But I'm just trying to make it matter. You see what I'm saying? I got the Coptodon Cote here. Okay. I always keep rummy nose because I try to get the wild caught ones. I got some inlets that I'm cleaning up in this one. Over there I have now Rubra Catachromis, Exul. I got those Emetitlianas over there that I'm working on. I got Felictes Tico.
Rio House Epic over there. I got some tridents outside. Big homie hooked me up with some Chapalites. I got Amazon and Mexican on the mollies. Jorge hooked me up with the now Hierophanius Minto, and it's own. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody has these ones, but that's the point of this. We're nerding now. So, the fuck. What are those ones? Jorge, Zoogeneticus, tequila. I got those out there. It might be some puppies. The Gerardias, the black chins. They are so picky. But once you get them dialed in, though. And the ones I told you I was working on, the Aploxylites Rancorelli. So the Rangeros, Lampi, killifish. That one. Like, there's a little bit of information on fish space, and then that's the one I was saying, like, the rest of it's in Dutch, bro. Yeah. And it's cool because I gave a challenge, Lily. Like, I think two or three shows ago here. I gave a challenge and I said, look at all the fish in your house. Look at the fish in your house. I don't care what they are. I don't care where you purchased them from or how you acquired them. But look at the fish in your home and the plants for that matter. And do a Google search on what the fish are and where they come from. And then do a Google search on where they come from. Once you find it, look at the political situation in that country, look at the quality of life in that country. Just do a deep dive on the place where those fish come from. You know, like deep dive if you want to. Look at coordinates and use iNaturalist and say, they found it in this ditch behind this hotel. And go, kick ass, rock out. And then you understand like how this whole thing's connected, how never before in the hobby have we been able to do this to where I can click on an article, find the author, find all the metadata, all the footnotes, bibliography, to where if I could have did this shit in the 90s, like, Jesus, I said I would have been at Dr. Axelrod's funeral. Like, it's a meiosis right now, how we are connected with the internet. We've never been able to do this. And I see it as an opportunity. Rather than focus on the negative, let's just do something. And that's why we're here. So, by word of mouth and just the way things work, people will understand and know that this exists. And then, not if, but when and after they get treated badly in other places, they know they can come here. And it's not about being treated badly. It's about being objective. That's all I got.
All right. So going back to the database, I know, let me put it back up there so that we can continue to. So in here, all this information is obviously information that hobbyists are helping develop. Mm-hmm. And then you get notified whenever somebody updates any of this information? Or are you the only one that can do edits, or do the public also have access or the ability to do edits on that information?
Yeah, so the only time I get notified is when somebody submits a new species, because the first person to submit it is what's displayed. Down the line, I'm looking to change the code to allow like a thumbs up feature. And then the information entry with the most thumbs up is the one that will be displayed. That's something that I have planned for the future, not necessarily right now. Right now, it's the first person to enter it. So I get notified of that, and I always check that information to make sure that what's being displayed is going to be accurate. But then if you scroll down to the bottom, you actually have an option that says submit edits. And that's how you can update the information. So you have the first person to do it, and then you have everybody else, and you can actually scroll through the edits that have been submitted to kind of look through other information and things like that. So if you have show edit list there, so you'd be able to see all of the other people that have submitted an edit, submitted information for that. So right now there's only one, right?
Yeah.
But for, once people start using it more, once people, especially for the more common species, start uploading more information, you'll be able to go through all of those edits and say, oh, like this person disagrees on this person disagrees on that. There's a lot of cool stuff that I want to do. Right now, when you hit submit and edit, what happens is it autofills all the information the same way that it currently is on the page. And then you go through and change whatever you disagree with. Another feature I want to add is whenever you don't change something, it shows that you agree with it. So then you can track kind of which parts are most agreed with and which parts are most disagreed with. So there's a lot of cool stuff I want to do that requires money, so I can pay the developer because I don't know how to code, or I guess I could learn how to code over the next couple of years. Might be cheaper in the long run.
But wait a minute, maybe there's somebody who is a hobbyist that likes to code, and y'all can come to some amicable agreement, because I said this is a myopic. We are connected. There are people who have look, the same way I can rattle off all this stuff and get ridiculed for it, is the same way that somebody can see your need, have a solution for it, and, backstroke and spit a water fountain in their sleep doing it, and love to help you. The payment would be gratitude. So out there, y'all, if you can code, Lily needs help.
Yeah. Done. And the good part is Lily Theology is a nonprofit. So I have been talking to a couple of software engineers who have like a volunteer requirement for their work.
Oh.
Like, well, if you need to volunteer for something,
One of the features that I really like about this database, and unlike what I try to research on Google, usually the problem that I'm finding with Google, it seems like everybody just copies and pastes the same verbiage verbatim and just puts it on the website when it relates to the care and information on the species. Now, if I understand this correctly from your previous interviews, you actually want breeders that are breeding these species to really give you the nitty-gritty information that you can't find anywhere else other than your personal experience. And that's the thing that excites me the most, especially now that I'm trying to get into breeding fish, to be able to come and find that information here, because they tell you all these little intricate details that you can't find anywhere else.
That's why
that is one of the features that I think it's going to make this really excel, especially for people that are trying to breed species, especially some of the harder to find species that you can't find information. So, but am I correct in that assumption, Lily?
Yeah, you are. One of the people I talked to about this actually was Greg Sage. I'm sure most of you guys have heard of him before, but he created like the green dragon and the longfin green dragon bristlenose lines, and he also breeds like really beautiful Odessa barbs and a lot of endangered live bearers. And his philosophy, he's almost always sold out, but he wants people to be able to establish their own populations of these endangered live bears to, help boost the numbers and contribute to the amount of information that we know. And that's something that really appealed to him about this database as well, is the ability to share that information and make sure people are doing it in a way that is beneficial for the species and not just convenient for them. But at the same time, sharing tips and tricks and like, hey, I lowered the water temperature by 2 degrees and all of a sudden all of them spawned. Or just like little things like that, where you'd have to create your own site. You'd have to create your own page or like source of information somehow. But instead you could just put it here. And I think that accessibility is one of the stronger points of the database.
Well, and I think the other thing that's interesting is because I know the stuff you find online, the typical stuff, it's based on parameters that are out in the wild, that kind of information. But sometimes when you're trying to breed certain species, you can breed them outside of those parameters based on your water quality that you have and stuff like that. So it's really nice to be able to have that information so that you don't find yourself trying to chase these certain parameters that are out there, when somebody has been successfully be able to do it with a different set of parameters, and to be able to find that information, I think could be useful because it would lead to more success when trying to breed a certain species, especially when you're talking about conservation and trying to keep some of these species from disappearing. So that to me is definitely one of the most exciting features that this database has.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And in terms of conservation, there's also a section that's actually not available to hobbyists that is just for scientists and researchers and like different like official conservation groups. One of the people that I interviewed actually mentioned that he had applied and gotten a grant to survey a specific part of a river by where he's located, to see, you know, the biodiversity, which species are still there, if there's the appearance of any invasive species, things like that. And then a month and a half later, another team applied for had applied for a grant, gotten the grant, and did the exact same thing. Just because there's a lack of communication between the different groups. So they have the idea, right? They say we need to survey this river, but then multiple people do it at the same time because there's no like communication between them. So that was, but not only communication between hobbyists, but communication between researchers is also one of the goals of the database as well. So what I predict happening is the addition of a couple of more like sport fish or conservation fish. So there's a lot of trout hatcheries where I'm at, and being able to share that information between the different hatcheries on how to increase survival rates, on how to, you know, improve the process and things like that. There's also, I have an interview with a caviar group actually. So I'm really interested, I'm interviewing them. So I'm very interested to see, you know, how they keep track of their information, you know, how they manage their sturgeon, things like that. So I think that'll provide some good insight as well.
I don't know if you're aware, but I guess in Tennessee, there is a conservation facility that is making sure that native species are being preserved. That might be a good point for you to kind of reach out, because they have a ton of information on native species that they are. And I know Sean Peck did a tour of that facility. I would have to go back to his video to get the name of it, unless somebody
native fish.
I'm not gonna sit here and try to pretend like I remember the name of it, but I do remember that facility does exist, and that's their focus is preserving native species. And I guess they have one that is actually in a military facility, so the public doesn't have access, but they're the only people that have been allowed to go in there and collect this species of it's a darter, I think, and to be able to try to preserve it, because it's the only waterway that it exists down in the United States. It's inside of this military facility. So, you know, so that I guess they would be a great source to be able to add tons of information on some of these species to supplement the database that you already have.
Is it the Native Fish Coalition of Tennessee?
That sort of rings a bell, but like I said, I'm not even going to try to sit here and go, yeah, that's it, because I can't remember exactly. I would have to go to the video and watch it, but I think they are out of Tennessee. I remember that much.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if anyone wants to connect me with anyone, you have my email, you have my links and everything like that. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. There.
They do a lot of good stuff, man. They always have some. Look at this guy. Amazing. But yeah, they're in Tennessee.
Yep. Yeah, and I forgot how many different species they're actually having in there, and I'm sure they're probably not the only ones. You know, I know they were doing a lot of the darters and the minnows, because a lot of those waterways, you know, they either get disrupted or they get contaminated or whatever the case is. But I thought it was real interesting though.
Well, that you mentioned that Ohio brought this whole thing together, Lily. I just got back in the country. George was, I think, was you in Mexico? You was on one of because you was moving there for a minute. Boom, boom, boom. Y'all took some trips. you know. But Ohio happened, right?
Okay, yeah, you're talking about the spill.
Palestine, the other one. But Palestine one happened in Ohio, and I saw the fish floating, right? And I knew what they were, and I cringed, and I was like, "This is some bullshit." Obviously, we're talking about the human impact, right? Like that sucks. And then all those fish done. So Ohio made this happen. Like this whole year, this trajectory that me and Jorge have been on. And then for the layman, going along the lines of what Jorge was asking you earlier about vetting, so on and so forth. If you can reassure people that the contribution in and of itself, like that is the value. No one person is gonna be valued more. And don't think that your contribution isn't significant enough to where you don't end up sharing anything at all. Because I think I had seen June say something to the effect of the empiricals, man, the data ain't gonna change. The only thing that's gonna change is the circumstances on our personal specific circumstances and how we individually keep them. And I've alluded to that so much that I'm not even gonna go down that road today. So if you could just, but and I'm gonna say why. In my lifetime, and Jorge is always on my ass about this. I cannot tell you how many times I have stood on the pier and watched another son bitch get my award. I can't tell you how many times. And Jorge's always saying, well, Steve, you gotta talk about it. You gotta do this, you gotta do that. And I'm like, Jorge, I don't care about clout. It ain't about me. And he's like, well, I'm not saying it's about clout, but fuck. If you don't say nothing, then they're not gonna know you know. And he said, I know why you get pissed off. You get pissed off because the motherfuckers they giving credit to messing it up. They have no clue what they're talking about. And then when you come, you look like the angry, pissed off Negro that's late to the party with a chip on his shoulder when I know you, Steve. So I'm using myself as an example, y'all. Ain't nobody better than the next person. How in the hell can you discount the ditch that's only behind your house that only has these Gambosia in it because Jimmy Joe Cocksucker said he's the best? No, that's not science, boo-boo. Go record that, write it down, put it in your best Morgan Freeman voice, your best David Attenborough voice, and share away. Share away. Because that's how we grow. This is a 2024 Earth. That's 2024 fucked up with all the poison, with all the stuff. We need new science, okay? Let's use social media the right way. This is a symbiosis. Let's make it neat and cool and cute to be objective and elicit positivity. So my mantra for 2024 for myself and my son is, and I told Jorge this, it's hard too. It's hard. What has been your contribution to the world today, young man? And that goes for me and my son. And I said to the world, and I said contribution. That is very subjective, but depending on the standards that you hold yourself to, it's extremely difficult. It depends on how honest you are to yourself.
So that's where I'm at. Like, let them know, please. Like, don't be scared to share stuff. Like, dude, it's funny, and we can laugh it off, and we can say Steve's insane. Nah, I'm not gonna say. People like love this hobby, right? You got people that ain't got no friends. You got people that ain't got nobody to talk to. Maybe society say they're not the sexiest or the coolest, you're not fly, whatever, right? And then you like to fish, bro. And that's what you do. And how the hell did you think Tiger Woods was going to be great at golf? He's been playing since he was 4. How the hell do you think we're supposed to know all this shit about fish? We have no friends. We have no social lives. Only to go in the pet store and be ridiculed by some idiot who says, what kind of tank you got? And I'm like, which one? So it's not a tangent. I'll be like the old buddy on Green Mile, bro. I'll be that dude. Y'all can laugh at me on the fucking internet forever. Don't be in pain. Share your shit. Make this thing grow. It's that simple. Don't be in pain when you don't have to. Love your fish. Share it. We here for it. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I guess Dusty had a question. He wanted, I guess, trying to get clarification on the database. If it was like somewhere where strict information on breeding and stuff like that, or not so much on how to keep them. I think it's a little bit of both, right? If I'm not
Everything
mistaken.
in there.
Yeah, it definitely is. So I wanted it to be a place where people can go to find that detailed information on breeding that they're looking for, but just a general place for information as well. Like just being able to say, oh, this fish doesn't seem to be thriving. Like, what can I change to make it do better? And then also be a place where it's like, oh, I've been trying to breed this fish for 6 months and I don't seem to be getting any closer. Like, what have other people been successful with? So really, I was trying to cater to both parts of that audience because a lot of people asked if it was only endangered species that would be going in the database. Like, I don't have any endangered species. Can I still contribute? Like, yeah, I still want that information on betta splendens, on guppies, on platies, on mollies. Like, those are still important. And most importantly, to talk about what you were saying about like contribution, I wanted it to be free. I feel like a lot of times people think that they need to have like decades of experience or a lot of money to be able to contribute to these sorts of conservation efforts. But, you know, even just setting aside 20 minutes to put in one entry is a significant contribution to conservation, regardless of whether or not you see it that way, because it's collecting data. And saying, here's my experience. I'm putting myself out there. I'm sharing this because I love the hobby. And I think that's what's at the core of all of these projects, of all of these. I see all the YouTubers in the chat. I'm on a YouTube live stream now. At the core of it is I love this hobby. And a lot of people get discouraged. Like they make them, like one of my first tanks, I introduced a fish without quarantining it. It killed about 60% of my stock. And then I was like, maybe I should just quit. Everyone's made that mistake, but nobody wants to talk about the things that went wrong. And that's also important. Saying this definitely didn't work, definitely don't do this, is a problem that's both, you know, in the hobby and in the scientific community. Is people only want to have positive results. It's not always going to be positive. It's not always going to be right, but that information is just as important.
I'm just smiling because I like winning in real life, bro. Y'all are witnessing this shit. Like I'm winning in real life right now, bro. Like fucking winning in real life. Look, it's empirical data. Here's the juice. Here's the good part about it. It's not driven by clout. It's not driven by ad revenue. It's not driven by trying to be cool. It's driven by the hobby and vetted by us who purely have experience, wisdom, and now the nuances that make us not full of shit like the majority of people whom, we get to put those nuances somewhere, wherever, in a digital database that's open source and freely accessible to all. Doing what Jorge
said, and we kind of talked about it. Rico had put a lot of input in that one specific episode of what if we put our money where our mouth is? What if we contributed? How do we give back? Like he had this whole life crisis epiphany thing. You're going to ask him, but he just changed. He changed, and then he was over here because like I'm usually the one being all philosophical and turned up and passionate. I'm a Taurus. I'm Earth gang. I'm the Earth toucher. But I rubbed off on him, and he was like, you know, he was like this, you know, like, what if we do it? Like, just what's the point? Where am I going with it? He's like, oh, you're matured in the hobby, and everybody's saying that since then and up to now. He's heard that several times. So now he's matured in the hobby. It's different. Where do you put the new on? How do you articulate it? You know, what if we could get these expos to donate said thing to this and, you know, charge $1 extra for a ticket and this and boom, boom, boom. And then you know what happened? Houston happened. Arcon happened. It wasn't planned. It wasn't scripted. It was manifested. The universe was universing.
Yeah, you're leaving a lot of information out. Because you and I know what happened, but you're functioning under the assumption that everybody is in the loop.
So the Aquarium Nation Expo happened, came up, got an opportunity to do that, and I was doing that. Per serendipity, I would say, Jorge did what he did. And was like, man, what if we could do this? What if we could do that? There's got to be ways to give back. So we always had this hobby. You know, people monetize. We got to help these babies remember that it is a hobby. It's a privilege. At the end of the day, you spending money to keep something alive you're not going to eat. So how can we give back, et cetera, et cetera? Then an opportunity came up where they needed somebody to donate to from the Aquarium Nation Expo. And we were able to help out some friends of ours at the Amazon Research Facility, Dr. Anthony and them. And it all just flowed. So when I said I'm winning in real life, you're sitting up here. We're doing this, the last episode for this year, until next Saturday, after next. I mean, really, we're starting off the new year good. This is not the end. This is the beginning. So that's why I'm winning in real life. Like, it's happening. It's 12:55, by the way. It's Angel. Just so you know.
All right. Well, I was able to find the organization that I was talking about. I took an opportunity to go check out Sean's post on that, and it's actually called Conservation Fishery. Let me add them here. And so these are the people that. Oh, wait, wrong one. Right here. These are the people that I was talking about. Where I think they're going to be a great resource of information, especially for native fish. And I think you guys would be a perfect match for each other, because of the information that'll be available. But yeah, this is the organization that I was referring to, and I still think they are out of Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. Let me contact. That's where it probably tell me. A little bit down. Yeah, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee is where they're located. But that was just pretty much it on that. I was just,
you know what I think is an untapped resource that I think, Lily, you should champion? Rural minority youth. There's a lot of country son bitches that live in the sticks, right? And they're nerds. And because America's America, they're closet nerds. You know? They don't have access to pet stores, and Walmart don't sell fish no more, nor should they. I'm not going to virtue signal. So
wouldn't that be cool, right? To let them know that like it's totally not only is it cool, it's super desirable to keep
I'm
natives.
gonna give you guys a sneak peek onto the project that I've been working on kind of in the background. It's still related to conservation and fish and everything like that. I've started working with different schools to actually target students. So I'm setting up a 40-gallon in an elementary school in Denver. And then I'm going to go and present to the little elementary schoolers about what's going in the tank. And then the other project that I'm working with is with my university that I graduated from. They assigned me a group of 4 students, and we're actually working on a modular aquaponic system so that people can, have both fish and plants, and the students can learn about the different parameters and things like that, specifically catered to fish in their local area. So most aquaponic systems use tilapia. So this system is going to be for using fish that are more local to them, more relevant to them. So that'll be released sometime in the next 6 months. Because I'm working with these university students, and they're putting together presentations and things like that. So there's your little sneak peek into the next new thing that I'll be releasing.
You already know, right, Jorge?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Thank you, Lord. That's cool shit. Wow. Nah, like that's what I'm doing. Everything you just said. Like that's what I'm going to school for is greenhouse technology and sustainable growth system. I'm looking for my doctorate in horticulture. So like you saying, not tilapia, pero put gambusia in there. It's going to be a heavy ass fish though, but it'll be a sustainable one. And there won't be no mosquitoes either. Trust me. So like,
yeah. And that's why I'm always glad to come up on these live streams and like meet new people at conventions and everything, because the brain cells start firing. Everyone's just like pinging ideas off each other. They're like, oh, what about this? Have you thought about this? And that's why I really love, really just engaging with other people in the fish keeping world,
This is that synergistic, like I use analogies a lot. I like parables, man. Like Avatar, when they're at the tree, it's connected. This huge neural network underground, which is true, by the way. And here's the internet, and it's the same thing. And then it's what you just said about the tangible experience in person at these expos and stuff, but transcendent, on steroids times a zillion, right? Problem is, it's not the paradigm because the internet is still young. Humanity, right? We're babies. We're irresponsible, okay? My analogy, and big little homie gave me this analogy years ago. And I say little homie because this is one of my junior sailors. And he said, with the internet, imagine when the emperor was given the telescope in Rome. And instead of looking at the sky, he got the telescope and immediately he turned it down and looked on the people. And he was like, oh, she naked. Oh, he over there peeping. Oh, they doing this. Oh, they doing that. He says the same thing with the internet. Never in humanities that we know have we been so connected. Have we had so much information? Have we been able to do what we're able to do? Touch, reach, see other universes. But instead, we turn it into our own understanding, our own selfishness, our own hubris, etc., all that stuff. Me too. I'm human. And we squander a great opportunity to just use just a little bit more of what we came from. So that's where I'm at with that, of making this paradigm, making it that way. Instead of getting on the internet to see some fish and just, I want to see some fish, right? So what's the juice? What's the drive behind posting fish? Doing the most sensational, outrageous nonsense, pretty colors, put it in a light bulb. Who gives a shit? No, let's change this paradigm and make it about science, and to where it's almost rhetorical, right? That you don't have to worry about getting ridiculed. Like, really, bro, don't be a lank. Like, who doesn't? I want that. It's inoculated. It's gonna happen. So that's what I'm saying. Like, the internet, like, keep making it grow. Because everybody ain't got money to go to the expo, man. I'm all inclusive. When I say all, I mean all inclusive. As long as you can tolerate me, then I can tolerate you. It's simple.
Hey, Lily, any for now that we're at the end of the year and we're coming into 2024, do you foresee any events where you will be presenting and speaking at them, or what plans do you have for the new year coming in?
Yeah, so I'll definitely be attending a couple different expos. I haven't solidified which ones yet. I need to pick. I will not be doing Aquashella again, I don't think. I am going to be speaking at the Keystone Clash. And then besides that, I will also be going back to the Aquarium Expo in Houston. I really enjoyed that event. I've met a lot of great people, and I think there will be a lot more people next time since it won't be the first year.
Would you be willing to speak on there? Because I've seen your little montages, you like with your microphone. Like, if you want to do your thug fit, would you be down? They had a stage.
Oh, I'd always be down to talk and, you know.
Say less.
Yes, Steve has been trying to work on getting guest speakers for the event. So,
oh, I'd be more than happy.
Say less.
Yeah.
You good already. That's gonna be dope.
Awesome. Yeah, so those are the two that I have planned so far. And then I do want to attend a couple of others, but I actually have a calendar event that says Plan Expos 2024. So I'll be doing that sometime this coming week.
nice.
That's dope.
And also, is this your senior year?
No, I graduated.
Oh, you already graduated.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, congratulations on that.
I'm an adult now.
I still question that once in a while, even for me. So I don't know about
I'm not.
necessarily finishing school, considering
I'm just
yourself
here,
an adult.
man.
Sorry, maybe not an adult, but I have to do the adulting things now.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. You know what? It's being a POS is a choice. You don't have to be a POS. You know, you don't. A piece of crap. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's a choice. Just be a good person. You know, vibrate highly. Like I figured that out. I'm not grumpy. I'm not angry. I'm not any of that stuff. Right? But unfairly, people give me those things. They unfairly say these things about me. And it's not fair. And I finally didn't figure it out. Those voices, man, like just understandings be happening. And it was I saw something on Instagram, I think, or I read something. It was one of the Stoic things. But it's basically, I'm not any of that stuff. It's just that the way my brain works, I can't justify another person's insanity. Right? So you're going to come to me with this problem. And I love you. So I'm going to look for an actionable plan to a feasible solution for you. And then you just bullshit me. And then you want to say that I'm grumpy. And then you want to say that I'm angry. And then you want to say all this unfair stuff about me when you came to me in a place of need. Not me. I wasn't in a position of need. And I showed you love. And because it didn't fit your narrative or it wasn't what you wanted to hear, you now, again, get to overstep another boundary and place a title on me based off of a misunderstanding. That's unfair. So that's how my mindset is going moving forward, is don't try to justify people's insanity. Because
some people just don't have the capacity to be helped how you wish to help them. Actually does them more harm. Just love it and let it rock. That's where I'm at.
Is there anything else you want us to know about the work you're doing on the database, Lily?
Ooh. That's a good question. I feel like we covered a lot of like the origin, my goals, the way that it currently works right now, and the way that people can contribute. I guess this would be an opportune time for a thank you to everyone who has contributed and like supported this project. Obviously, being community driven, it doesn't work without a community. So to everyone that has started creating that community and that has been there, especially now in the early stages, I'm really thankful to you guys.
And I guess to follow that up, what's your ultimate goal that you would like to see happen with this? I mean, thinking the big picture, where would you want to see this database going in the near future?
In the near future, I want to definitely fill out some of the entries. I think for 2024, I'm pondering doing a challenge where I do at least one fish every 2 days, where I'm also contributing to the database, things like that. That being said, I just want it to be referred to people. I want to say like, oh, you're having trouble finding information on this species, check this out. Check out this database. Or you have lots of information, check this out. I think that would be one of my goals, is to just have the name be more recognized as a resource that people can use. So.
All right.
It's gonna happen. Nobody knew about it. Now they do. Watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a lot of that exposure going to those expos and stuff like that is really going towards that goal. Being able to come on and some of these platforms, especially with some of the bigger channels, and being able to talk about it, I think it's going to go a long ways in getting you where you want to go with that. But other than that, I mean, I don't know how you're doing on time. I know it's Saturday and it's right before the holidays too, so I don't want to have to tie you
now.
Yeah, I was going to say the one who's more constrained on time should not. I'm fine, but maybe the person.
I'm not even tripping though. I'm a veteran, and I do dumb shit like this all the time, just to be like, like you're not gonna go jump out of no damn well. Like if you don't call this Uber and relax and go do what you gotta do. No, I gotta be like this down to the minute. I'm looking at the clock. I got my time budgeted out. Like for real, we good. But what I wanted to say is, it's gonna happen. It will grow. And for every, I don't know, for every jerk or mean person, I promise you there's 50 nerds. All right? And when I was asked about this last event that took place, it was, hey, I'm a nobody. I'm nobody. I'm not a sensationalist, nothing like that. I said, but and you lead to the nerds. And I wasn't bullshit. And I'm not. And we're going to. So there you go. Happy New Year, you got. That's all I got. What you got, Jorge? Lily.
Yeah, we'll let Lily, if you have anything else you want to say and go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it sounds like a great place to wrap up. Happy New Year. And we'll see you in 2024, yeah?
Yeah.
Sounds great. And I wanted to take a little bit of a time to say thank you to everybody who's been supporting us for the last couple of years and has been willing to come and hang out with us and put up with our nonsense and actually inspired us to try to find better material, trying to motivate us to try to bring some of these guest speakers that we've had that are not necessarily, like Steve likes to call them, YouTube famous, but they're actually people that have a lot of information. And I think we've kind of found our niche I know when we started out, we kind of had a goal what we were trying to accomplish with this live stream, but we were kind of still trying to work it out.
Give it a
I
shake. Right.
Yeah, and I think within probably the last series of 8-9 guests that we've had, we've kind of hit a stride where we've kind of figured out exactly what we would like to achieve with what we're doing. And that is to be able to reach out to people like Lily, to people like Ivan, to people like Corey Aqua that
Right.
have a lot of knowledge on certain subject areas. But for some reason that information is not really disseminated as much on the internet. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been with us from the beginning and that continues to be here with us. And other than that, I just want to wish everybody a happy New Year's, and we'll see what 2024 brings for us. I know things have gotten a little bit more hectic for Steve because he's kind of taken on a lot of projects. And
okay, transparency and quickly. So I'm going to visit the Kim folks. Y'all know where that's at, La República. I'm gonna go do that for a few days, and then school, and then the website. I'm gonna turn towards focusing on me being better. Just like Jorge said, thank you. Y'all inspire me too, because the babies need to watch too. And I said it. If I do cuts, and I did that today, I did good. I promise that I ain't gonna go past what I would say in front of like my babies. And when I say my baby, I'm talking about like my little nieces and nephews and stuff like that. So they be like 9 or 10. And I know they look badass to be watching stuff that ain't got no business. So I don't go past that level. But just me being a better person. And like, oh my God. Being on the humility. Right? Being humble because y'all rocking with me, because I just want to share, rock out, have fun, all that good stuff. I ain't trying to get much. Appreciate it. I really am trying to like unpack a lot. You did? Because I have gifts and I gotta share them, and I can't share them because I'm standing in front of myself. So this is cool. I'm showing y'all how to have balls in real life. Should take a while. So that's what I got. Thank you so much, Lily. I'm rocking this pin. I'm gonna talk shit when they make me take it off in the body scan. I'm saying it. I'm doing it. Like I don't care. But I thank you. And this is just the beginning, God willing, of a lot of badassery. Like, name fish and sharing smiles, baby.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us today, and for sharing what you're doing. That's greatly appreciated. I know I'm going to use it for my own benefit. Not only, to educate myself, but also to use it as a resource for whatever it is that I'm trying to accomplish in my fish room. So,
not your own project, exactly. So
I want to thank you for that, and hopefully, in the near future, we might be able to cross paths and actually meet you in person and shake your hand.
That sounds like a plan. Just let me know which conventions you're going to. Yeah.
I want to go. I think the one in Houston is going to be a reality, just because I have family in Houston area. So, and I've already been talking to my wife, and she wants to go see the grandkids. So that's going to be a perfect excuse to get up there. The other one that I'm almost positive that I'm going to is the one that they're having up in the LA area at the Pomona Fairgrounds, and I think that one is called Super Aquatic Show or something like that. And if you're interested in that information, Lily, I'll send you the links to them. I'll send them to your Instagram if you want to check them out. I don't know where in the country are you located?
I'm in Colorado. I'm I'm not near any fish shows or anything, so I will be traveling.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
kind of
so-
centrally located though. You're not too far from me or not from anything that matters
Hmm.
on this side of Mississippi. Not bad.
All right. Well, we can wrap it up. Anything else you want to say, Steve, before we get out of here?
No, just thank you guys. Thank everybody that has rocked with us this whole year. Like Jorge said, y'all please be safe. And don't party too much. And strap in. 2024 is gonna be a ride. If you sold your XRP, you should be very, very upset. Go figure out something.
Well, Lily, thank you, and thank you, everybody. You guys have a happy New Year's.
Man.
Happy
Already.
New Year's, everyone.